Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Azukai. I'm going to be bringing to you the Eastern Champions, CBL East. So it's going to be the APAC, or they call it the APAC, versus the China mainland teams for the title of Eastern Conquerors. Now, from what I did here, SKT, our second place champions, uh, our second place runner up, has pulled out. AP, third place will be taking over. They will be facing off against JX, which is the champions of the China mainland, and of course, it's a best of five. So this will be a playback. So I'm not watching this live. So bear with me. Anyway, we'll go through the pick ban, and then I'll go into um, the stream. I'll be using the Conqueror's Blade be using the Conqueror's Blade dev stream, and just to note, it's not very good. Mainly because apparently there's a lot of disruptions. We'll have a 9-minute segment, and then there's a 55-minute segment. I'll be skipping over anything that doesn't have anything to do with the actual battle. Nevertheless, we are on to the pickman phase. Now, let me just close this real quickly. JX rolled a 3, AP rolled a 4. That means AP goes first. Bans out Wolfort, JX bans out Bailu. Both chooses Hidden City as their map of choice. AP bans out Halberdier Sergeants. Interesting pick. Again, I don't sure why they don't like Halberdier Sergeants, Halberdiers. I can understand the Falconetti Gunners to an certain extent, but I honestly don't think we see very many how to say Falconetti gunners as it is, and they're not very particularly effective in battle. They're more of a logistic they're more of a logistic unit. Now, they saved picked Imperial Pike Guard, so they have Imperial Pike Guard available. Now, the ban on companion cavalries for JX now bans companion cavalries, Iron Reapers, safe picks the Sunwood Phalanx, and the Zhuangjia Heavy Cavalry. I think that it's interesting that both companions and 1G Heavy Cavalry are being banned here, but also the Iron Reapers. I think Iron Reapers are a more popular choice for the Chinese mainland teams. Because I've just come off of watching the YYY versus BZZW, and they used a lot of Iron Reapers. But then again, there was not the Celadar did get banned there. So that being said, I'm gonna head over to the next. So I believe, oh yeah, it's this one. Whoopsie daisy. All right. So again, the stream from the Conqueror's Blade Dev is not one consolidated stream. It's a bit broken up, and we have missed out on quite a bit. But from the looks of it, it's only just very minor skirmishes. Of course, AP is attacking with JX defending here. And by the looks of it, it does look like the defending team has a little bit less resources than the attacking team. So AP has done very well at bleeding out JX, but right now we're in a mortaring phase. So there's quite a bit. So unfortunately, we didn't get to see the very start, so we don't get to see the unit compositions a lot. And as we can see, they're kind of just getting bombarded out with a lot of trebs and mortars. Still got 7 trebs to go, so Hidden City is one of those maps where you can't really use the treb except for the wall section and the base section. But even if the base section is interesting. Now, it's uncommon to see the attacking side actually being here on the right-hand side of Hidden City. Usually the left-hand side is more popular. Uh, it goes to show that it actually does seem a little bit more oppressive, mostly because you get those mortars in a closer position and you just bombarding a very, 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 very tight area. And as it goes to show, like JX is trying to hold, trying to weather the storm. Unfortunately, that's pretty much set up for it to be a done deal as AP actually moves in from the back supply side. Defenders will have a very difficult time reinforcing if they do die and come back. But the push here also starts off pretty badly as Claymores by themselves just eats the front. We have follow-up by the Silidars, but the Zyculine Militia needs to throw a little bit further back. Maybe they can get the, I think the Siphonarioids is in the back, but I'm not sure if there was actually any. Cavalry does come clean up that backline real quick. JX is holding very well, though. Plenty of the Sunwoods phalanx. Great to see them. But both sides lose a plenty of units. I think AP probably lost a little bit more units than JX. Probably get those Wu Weis right on top of that phalanx. And here comes an Imperial Pike March. Could end things here at the base point. We also have more cavalry rocking up. Not the greatest thing to throw against the phalanx, but as well. We also see Spahis after the mastery update and a bit of the changes. They do seem to be fairly effective cavalry units, and for for better or worse, I think they are quite disruptive. One of the one of the more stronger cavalry units, I would say, right now because of issues with surrounding the amount of CC. Stunning both units and hero makes fighting inside or against Spahis very difficult. They don't do a lot of damage. It takes a long time for them to kill anything, but they'll definitely keep you on the ground, keep you locked up for that 10 or 15 seconds that Coup de Pate is up. Now, we're looking here. Pretty good performance out from AP. Very little deaths versus the JX playing super defensive there at the end. And lots of deaths here. Pretty sure if we went towards the back section? Nope. No, come on. Here we go. We'll see that there was a little bit of a scrap early on, and then final battle. So we missed out on an earlier battle, but did look like a quite even-ish battle for blue. Oh, actually, no. Even-ish, I would say, by the looks of it. And in the end, AP wins the first battle on Hidden City. Now, this is just the rest of the commentary for Conqueror's Blade devs. And then there's a massive skip. Does skip over a massive section of the siege, but I don't think we missed. Actually, no. Looking at the scoreboard, we probably missed a fight on the wall. So this will probably and the time wise, we're probably clocked out about 8 minutes here.
4 and tier 5 units on their side.
So hopefully the rest of this will be nice smooth. This recording is an hour, so probably at least well, probably at least 3 more battles. Or maybe 2 if AP closes out. But AP looking in the weak section here, we did see that they took a hard L in terms of unit score. coming right up. JX is just running them down, not even going for the B point right now. Like to see some ASAPs out on the field. Great 1v1 unit. We do switch cameras, which is great. Ooh, might accidentally trip themselves here. They were expecting a fight, but I guess AP did not commit. Now, what is not surprising is their swing straight into the base if they decide to swing straight through. I would. You would be set up before AP even gets there. AP just reacts now and rocking up very slowly. I'm surprised that JX didn't just walk straight in. Walk straight in and set up. Or maybe they didn't have the artillery to set up. Now they go in. JX off to a good start, crushing the Sunward Phalanx. Gotta really keep the distance, especially when you're on the defending side. You can't push them in. You gotta use your Sunward Phalanx defensively, but they're getting crushed on every side right now as shield units just push their way in. Siladar's at the front as well. Aseps just clear it up. Aseps and Siladar's, along with Imperial's Spear Guard, just basically cleared up that entire pile. We see some flankers of Wu Wei's and Sparkies, but unfortunately they're not very effective right now. Shirt Diners probably try to offer some healing support, ineffective in this case. Overwhelming victory for JX. Most of the work coming out from the Imperial Spear Guards, and I would say probably the Siladars. ASAP's probably coming in super handy as well, getting right on top of their getting right on top of the enemy, barely surviving here, throwing their lives. Does look like 3 members of AP did respawn, but unfortunately that is just a solid formation, very difficult to get through. JX looks to have a super strong performance with their top contender getting 200 kills. The second best getting 160 kills. That's way, way higher than what you would normally expect. These guys must be like these guys must be using or must be like the main cavalry users or using a unit that just easily picks up kills. So these guys will probably be waiting in the wings, and once the fight does begin, they fold over the enemy once their team locks them up. But regardless, that is a very impressive score, especially since it is 700 leadership per warband. And do mind that a lot of times these teams don't actually use their entirety of their warband. 600 maybe, probably 650, 650 or so or other. That is that is way more than enough for almost 7 warbands. I mean, not 7 warbands. For 3 warbands for the top guy, definitely slightly over for the second guy getting 2 whole warbands. But still, AP doing a great job by the looks of the score here. Still keeping it a little bit, but probably again running out of resources at the very end. It's just it's just really difficult once you start losing your edge and once you start losing key units. Mass, like I think dealing with mass Sunward Phalanx is still very, very, very new, and people don't know how to handle them, along with all the other units that are probably trying to protect them. The heavy shield units are probably trying to protect them. The Siladars probably trying to protect them. Like you got to deal with all of these units along with a competent super lance unit. And again, very, 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 very very, very competent in what they do because they have the stun on brace, very annoying to deal with. Not very many units have resistance against this. And again, their attack range is the longest out of the melee units. You could try to use ranged units to beat them, but a lot of the ranged units probably don't have the DPS. I would I would expect that if people started to use more ranged units in order to beat out the Sunward's Phalanx, that would be more understandable. It's just very easy to build around your Sunward's Phalanx. You don't need that many units. You could literally use Surf sometimes. Just block the enemy. It would be very easy. But Imperial Spear Guards, very difficult to crack. So it's it'd be difficult for good teams for it would be very difficult for teams to get on top of the Sunward's Phalanx as long as good teams protect them. In this case, AP didn't protect their Sunward's Phalanx with using them as frontline too much, and realistically, when that happens, it is very desperate moment, and you're gonna lose your Sunward's Phalanx. They're not very particularly tough to kill. They're very easy to kill once you get to them. And as you can see, we did miss out on an earlier fight, massive around the supply point there on the left. Now, moving on to the next battle, we'll just go back to back. Again, it's going to be Hidden City. We're playing this time. We're watching JX attack again. This time from the beginning, which is good. So right now the score is 1-1. We can already see that with the Iron Reaper ban, Sillidar's getting picked up a lot. There's a lot of Silladars here. And that's a whopping 10 Silladars. Did I count wrong? That's a whopping 10 Silladars coming out from JX here. Lots of shield units for AP, particularly the Myrmielones. It's not the worst unit. They are effective against the Sunward Phalanx. Whether or not you can get on top of them is another question, but the Silidars should make short work of those shield units. Now, there's still a substantial number of Sunward's Phalanx. There is at least 6 of them coming out for JX, and only around about 4 of them coming out for AP. So we get this kind of setup here where it's mostly just infantry. There are some key cavalry units. AP also bringing out the Spahis a lot. In my own experience, I think the Spahis are in a very strong position, especially when you go against units that are not very particularly, doesn't particularly have any CC resistance. So Silidars actually really struggle dealing with Spahis. I've killed Silidars with Spahis fairly easily. Wu Wei deal with anything that deals a lot of damage really quickly will obviously deal them with them. Any cavalry again, if you had halberdiers, they would get completely munched. Spahis would get completely munched by halberdier sergeants, and since those two are banned, the realistic unit that we'll probably see the Spartans really struggle with is those Sunward Phalanx. The Sunward Phalanx is the best handicap unit we have in the game. Even Medals cannot even compare. Relative damage wise, each model is dealing could deal over 10,000 damage to cavalry units, which means that they almost get one-shotted. But also, there's 40 of them. Cavalry units are much smaller than infantry units, and with 40 guys doing 10k damage, I don't think there's very many cavalry units that can sustain that much damage or even make it through the phalanx formation. If not, I don't think anyone can. The damage is just so high, while also having to deal with the extra attack range. The Super Lance doesn't particularly have a very big dead zone. You basically have to be right in front of them to basically not be attacked by them. Also, the Ares Flurry doesn't seem to have a dead zone, so you also have that benefit. Nevertheless, siege towers do make it to the wall. Got some longbow hero just shooting. I do like to see myself some good longbows. They're really effective when the enemy team tries to bring out ranged unit, and this is the kind of time where bringing out ranged units is kind of what you need to do when you're dealing off against just mass infantry. It's hard to win with just infantry versus infantry because your composition could vary wildly, and if you don't have a very good strategy in mind, it can be uh, very difficult to pull back any deficit that you might gain or lose. You see, the majority of the units selected is tier 5s, or just like the unit count, that is, for the JX side. But AP has more tier 4 units. This will come into play considering that we're going to have to see the purple units basically. We're going to have to see tier 4 units trade 1-to-1 with the tier 5 units if AP wants to even have a chance at beating out JX in this scenario. Going for that front gate, very good move. I think going for the front gate here while the enemy is setting up mortars and stuff will be excellent. What's also important here is that we've just noticed that there is a big weakness to this strategy if you do go for it, is this supply point on the backside there's a back stairs for the left hand supply point. If the left hand supply point falls, we're gonna have some big problems for the defending side. Now, it's fine if it gets locked up, but the thing here is that attackers will respawn very close by and be able to get straight into battle, while any defenders dying will have to go all the way back, or spawn all the way back at the base point and run forward, or move to the other supply points, which is almost twice the distance, comparatively, from the front gate. Logistically, this position could be extraordinarily advantageous to the attackers in the case that they can lock up the supply point that they're going for. Well, the left-hand supply point, that is. Now, I'm interested to see how well AP deals. This could be a nice catch on the bottom of the stairs, a two-way front, but we have Shenji throwing straight onto the Phalanx. That's not a very good start. Phalanx takes a massive L, puts them forward. They're not Imperial Pike advance, though you wish they were. Also getting burned up by the Zycilian Militia. Surprisingly, they get pushed back on the other side as well. Sacrifices this lot. Siladar's trying to cleave their way through. A little bit of a walk back. Siladar's trying to swipe at them, but they're walking back just fast enough. Siladar's make literally laughing at the enemy here. But the Spahis do come in, carries the day, kills off most of the, if not all of the um, Siladars in this scenario. Pulling it back, pulling it back here. We're now back into a similar start, but I think as a whole, we're looking at probably 2 or 3 units up for JX. Whether or not they're in effective use is another question. They do take the right-hand supply point. Plenty of time to go. And if JX goes for another mortar or Trebbing, I think we could see AP kind of just attrition out. It would be wise that if they do catch. I mean, there's still plenty of artillery here as well on the wall. They've not even used all of the ammunition. If. Looks like AP's making a full retreat, in fact. They're going straight for the B point. They're letting them just go straight for the B point. A little bit wise, but I think it's too early. Couldn't force out any more resources from JX. Plenty of time as well. This adds an additional 3 or 4 minutes. We'll see in a second. Silidars and Sparkies out on the field. I love me some Blood of the Empire units, so it does add 3 minutes here. They are on the left-hand side, which is an interesting side, considering that the right-hand side is actually much more important. Probably also much more stronger to hold. We do see some kind of confrontation. The two sides don't want to go at it just yet. AP pulls off, folds back into the base point. Now, this is a really good position that if you had a range advantage, just shoot straight into this. Don't even need to engage. I always find scenarios like this super interesting because if you had more flexible units, something like, I mean, would you or would you not just replace the shield units in this case with Galahads? Like, even for JX, if you had Galahads, you could easily just have your shield units just present themselves. If you're in if you're in eyesight of the enemy, if you're in eyesight of anyone, just throw javelins at it. Having that ranged tool. I mean, the artillery is making up for it, the trebs as well, but it does take time and setup. But AP could avoid much of it if they just move. In this scenario here, the base point is completely cleared. I would kind of I think I would kind of bait a little bit. Have at least something strong. Looks like JX is going for it. Silidar is going to be very difficult to deal with. Shields shields go up through the side there. AP goes for it, but gets shut down instantly. Very bad decision instantly. They've already lost 2 of their major units, and they're losing their cavalry fairly fast. I think they lost over 10 units now. There's probably only 5 units left available for them in this right at this moment, and this is a complete domination by JX. One of the things you don't want to ever do is walk straight into that phalanx formation, especially when it's narrowed like that. There could have been over 3 phalanxes just pointing spears at you. That's 120 pikes. Not to mention, the Silidars could easily face tank anything you could throw at them. They're not particularly easy to kill. Heroes from the Swahis jump in, but I don't know what's happening with the concussion, but it does look like it's not very effective against brace units as they instantly stand back up once they get hit by the concussion. Trying to push through that phalanx formation, but it's not doing very well. They're not able to get in. I think the Wu Wei there was able to slow them down just enough. Oh, they can't even get their own phalanxes in, which is not great. They come in through an awkward angle as well, just get completely caught up by the. They get completely caught up in the Asebs there. Very desperate. The APs just kind of throw themselves onto this base point, and there we have it. Victory for JX, very convincingly as well. I feel like AP doesn't know what to do. They're fighting tougher units. They're fighting against a team that is much more on the defensive side. And this is kind of what I leaned into with their match against YYY. If they hold back just a bit, maybe let the enemy make mistakes. Definitely a scenario where AP is being overly aggressive, making more mistakes than JX here. I think the opportunity is there. I don't think the unit setup is optimal. But there are some cases where if you can get JX to kind of spread out a bit, you can peel off small victories. And again, you had very good cleanup when they did attack you that first time, whether or not that was between opportunity or because of reinforcements. You came in, got that victory. Now, heading over to the next battle. Oh, actually, hang on. Let's take a quick look. So yeah, quite an even exchange. This is really good in terms of the fact that there's probably tier 4 units to tier 3 units, but that battle at the second part, it was such a landslide victory. Like, you're losing over twice the number of units than the attackers, leaving the attackers with at least 7 or 8 units up, making it impossible for you to come back from that scenario. All right, we are on to we're on to the fourth battle now. Because we missed the first battle, we watched the end of the second battle, and we just watched JX just beat them. So this is AP attacking. Now, AP did win their first attack. We didn't get to see it, but I'm hoping that AP does win. This could be sent down to a field battle, which will shake things up a bit. Right now, not feeling very much right now because that right hand siege tower probably will get destroyed. I mean, 2 musket bombs will probably destroy it. We do see the left hand, we do see the middle one is basically full, so it's barely been touched. Both sides. Oh, did we skip over? Did I accidentally skip over the? Yeah, I did. Sorry about that. Let's rewind a bit and then I'll fall forward again. Or did we not get it? Come on. All right, I'm just gonna pause it here just for 2 seconds. They drop. Oh wait, hang on. Similar setup from last time. I don't think much changed. I think JX only dropped one Sunway's Phalanx. Looks like someone bringing Lancelots instead. Relatively similar setup for both sides. I don't think very much changed. Uh, Still have plenty of Zychelium Militia for. Whoa, there is no Zychelium Militia from AP. 3 Zychelium Militia for JX here, so that's not good. We do have Shenji, but whether or not they'll make up the difference is another question. Shenji also for JX here. Very effective against the Sunwind's Phalanx, by the way. Sunwind's Phalanx does not like getting hit by those things. Alright, skipping back to the battle. Sorry about that. I kind of like skip back and forth there. But middle siege tower does get up onto the wall. Right hand siege tower did get destroyed. I think left hand siege tower not making any progress is kind of weird. Or maybe it did get destroyed, but a bit earlier. Uh, what happened there? I don't. I didn't notice that the short sword was going too deep. Did he go down the siege tower or did he fall off the wall? Because he's on the ground, dead there. First blood for AP. Left hand siege tower does make it up to the wall. I don't think JX will defend the wall, but probably could have fished for the A point a little bit faster. Swinging over to the left hand side. Still wondering how. Still wondering how AP is going to deal with all these Scyldars. Not particularly fun fighting against a unit that will cleave you into oblivion. I've kind of walked into Scyldars a lot lately, and it's just like one cleave has just annihilated my health bar. Not that I didn't think that they needed, not that I didn't think that they needed a damage buff. They definitely did. I think after the changes for the Scyldars, they're definitely in a much stronger position, and definitely can be counted as meta. I think at least semi-meta. When we're talking about live server, there's a lot of different factors that might come in. One of them is usability. People people sometimes struggle with understanding how Scyldars work. Most of their tankiness comes in the form of their abilities. So you can get a rotation of sideways sweep for 3 seconds, death strike for 3 seconds, then you got a gap. Then you got a gap of 6 seconds before you can activate sideways sweep again. But for those 6 seconds, you're pretty much one of the tankiest units in game. I mean, the only unit that is tankier than Sildars as of this moment, it's just like a raw stat thing, is Iron Reapers. And they can go toe to toe with Iron Reapers so long as they have that 40% damage reduction on. In fact, I believe Sildars are actually stronger than Iron Reapers, just not consistently. If you have either ability up, you can probably chop down the Iron Reapers to almost ineffectiveness, killing them off, but you will take a bit of damage. Not that much, though, considering how convincing the victory would be. Plenty of mortars out for AP. Not that I think that they've been very effective. You would need at least 3 direct hits to kill something as tough as Scylla does. Probably 2 headshots will easily kill a phalanx unit. Unfortunately, you have to get through the blue shield, which is a pain in the ass, if you ask me. That blue shield comes in handy a lot. Now, this is where I would say that Zykelia Militia will be absolute menace here if they don't hit them. We still have a couple of Zykelia Militia, whether or not, well, we have the Scyldars now going to probably rule the day. They didn't get that phalanx up in the rear, and they're getting surrounded. They couldn't keep they couldn't keep their lines in check. And again, another scenario being too aggressive when you don't need to be. Throws in the Yanyudao cavalry as well, right into the phalanx. Gonna get chopped into pieces here. Very convincing victory for JX, though. I wouldn't say that AP is out just yet. In terms of unit losses, they only lost around about 150, so it's about a 2-to-1 exchange in this case. Though it's not great, not terrible either. But it will come back to bite them as the battle drags on, whether or not they can get the B point, because I think in the last 5 minutes they're going to be fighting for their lives. JX is definitely not sitting back as they're going for the guys on the supply point. Support is needed. If they do not fight together, they're going to lose separately. They just lost another melee unit. Every unit counts here right now. AP, where you going? Turn around and fight. Does look like a battle at two fronts right now. One side getting absolutely clobbered, the other side is losing. But in terms of units, it is not much. In terms of units, it's not much of a difference. Get in formation, back off. We also have, oh, we have Spahi's coming in. Hits that back line right on top, and it is a mess. Though the though the Wu Wei cleaned them up. I did love that jump straight on top of the back line. Unfortunately, now they're in attack mode. The Silidars plus the ISGs will be abs impossible to deal with by the Pike unit. We also see that. Oh, we also saw that the Silidars inside just kind of just cleared that up. This ain't good. I mean, AP just lost an additional. My goodness, they lost an additional 400 units. Another huge loss. In this case, it's about 3 to 4. Probably an edge of almost 10 units right now. And it does go to show that they're kind of just. Oh, Sparkies don't exactly have the cooldowns. There's the 1.5-second concussion. Does work against the Silidars. Apparently not against race units though. That's very unfortunate why it doesn't work against race units. Nevertheless, Sparkies trying their best to deal with the rest of those Silidars, and it does look like that front gate is just a mass of shields, Imperials, and Wu Wei Mansion guards. They just pushed through. A couple of guys pulled off, but one of the ISGs just kept fighting forward. They're charging out. Don't want to just throw your lives away. Another Treb to the front here. Could look to fight there on the left hand side. Fortunately, unfortunately, that's just better units than AP can muster. They're just throwing units at them right now. Not even in a good not even a good formation. Overwhelming overwhelming firepower in this case. I think JX here wants to end the battle by just killing the heroes one by one. Could happen. We did get to see it in an earlier battle. Well, for me, it would be earlier since this is a record. I'm watching a recording here. But that is victory for JX, winning 3-1 against AP. I would say the important thing to take away from this is like know when to be aggressive and know when to be defensive. JX is definitely got the pace of AP locked down. And there are definitely some situations where the angle is bad, but I don't think AP had much of a choice on the angle for those ones. Coming down the stairs and taking a 180, always just really, really terrible. Not to mention there could still be any number of units there behind you once you take the turn. But another convincing victory. They probably maintain an edge of probably seven-ish units. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a bit more, probably some leftover. But JX, well done, uh, winning the knockouts thing. So they will move on to the finals, facing off against YYY. I did already see the YYY versus BZZW in this case, and so with YYY, this is going to be a bit awkward. I'm kind of like giving out information and it's just like, man. Anyway, hopefully the spoiler is not that bad, but hopefully you guys will forgive me. Anyway, so AP will go down to the losers bracket, fighting off against the loser between YYY versus BZZW, and JX will go up against the winner between YYY versus BZZW. And sorry for the spoilers already, but if you didn't pay attention to the spoilers, but yeah, there is what happening. That's probably what's happening tomorrow on the 1st of September. We'll get to see who is third place and who is going to be our Eastern champion. Obviously, we'll also get second place. Now, I'm disappointed that we still haven't seen very much pickups of some of the other ranged units that could be available. Imperial Archers does seem to be a very strong ranged unit right now. Probably not in the CBL, but I definitely think that there is untapped potential as as well as probably not. As long as the Sunwood Phalanx is out, cavalry will still be suppressed, and by quite a large margin. We won't see any more medals anymore, considering that the Sunwood Phalanxes are around. The bans on the halberdiers and halberdier sergeants makes heavy infantry run absolutely wild. So that's not a really great. That's a great thing for our tier 5 infantry. I think any of the tier 5 infantry really struggles against the halberdier units because of the damage, and of course because just in general, halberdier units are just very effective. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Um, but other than that, my name's Sasuke. Have a nice day. Bye for now. Oh man, hang on. Let me try that again. I don't want to be here with my face like that. And also, let's end this on this image. I kind of want. Ugh. So again, I did use. So this is a play. This is a recording of me watching a recording from Conqueror's Blade devs. I didn't get to watch the matches live, and we did miss out on the first battle and part of the second one. Now, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I could find a clean version. There's not really much. There's not really a clean version to say. Just got to find someone who has recording of the battle. I wish there was, but I couldn't. I'm excited to see. The most thing I'm excited to see is how the Americas and the EU teams are going to go, because I can definitely feel that we're in an infantry meta, but there's so much. There's so much differences of the choice of units and the units to deal with the infantry meta. And this is why infantry is also one of the best balanced because it has way more variety. That being said, that's only because certain infantries are suppressing the other types. Shield infantry in particular suppresses any of the ranged units. Most ranged units do not have the ability to get through block. A lot of well, there's also anti-cav units which deal with cavalry units at such a good pace and still while still being effective against infantry. So there's that. Now, that is just my that is just some of my thoughts, and I'm just gonna end this recording now because I don't know why I decided to ramble there, but I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. Um, Again, I'm sorry that this is a recording. I couldn't watch it live, and um, I hope you look forward to listening to my commentary for some of the for battles to come. I definitely love watching the CBL, and I hope you guys enjoyed. But other than that, my name's Atsukai. Have a nice day. Bye for now.